Yeah, Chanel, it doesn't look good for them at all. And I mean, I'm the guy who probably falls into the camp of, and not expecting very much useful to come out of this on behalf of Iran, and I think they'll stay the course. They've advertised for themselves for a while, but I'm certainly hoping something bigger will come out of it from a peace deal that's actually enforceable and will be followed. And I think that's really the greater challenge here is who are you talking to in Islamabad? And do they actually have the ability to take what they signed potentially and enforce it inside their own boundaries when there are different factions already developing among the IRGC, the Quds Force, the Basij forces, and other state security apparatuses. So it's there's a lot of ways for this to go wrong, but if it goes right, it could be a very big thing.
There was so much hope after the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, met with Lebanon and Israel and created kind of this new approach to dealing with Iran's proxies in Lebanon, Hezbollah. What effect has that had on the IRGC and the Iranian negotiating position?
Well, I think Iran used it as a bargaining tool in the first place to try to give the excuse of why they were going to continue with whatever they thought they needed to do, because they lumped it all together. I think bypassing Hezbollah and going directly to the people of Lebanon and their leadership was a very good move. And I also think that leaving France generally out of it was also a very good move. But in the end, Iran is watching their proxies wither on the vine, Hamas and Houthis being primarily eliminated already or made ineffective, and Hezbollah would be next. And now that Iran is focused internally with so much, losing $500 million a day in oil sales, most of their military has been eliminated or made ineffective. For the most part, I think Hezbollah is sitting out there too, kind of wondering what their future is under Iranians' resupply and leadership as well. And hopefully Hezbollah goes away too.
You know, what baffles me is that we have all the cards, we have the chips, we have control. Iran doesn't. And I don't understand why they keep standing in rooms where they act like they have cards to play. And what I mean by that is China doesn't seem to be overtly helping them. Maybe we'll learn that China has been helping them through these shipments, through covert shipments into Iran. But it doesn't seem like they have a leg to stand on. It just feels like a comical situation we're in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are asking that question too, and as well they should be. But what you're also thinking is that the Iranian leadership is going to act rationally, and as opposed to what they really are, which is a hardline religious zealot type of an organization who cannot see themselves surrendering to Israel or the West in general, and that's going to drive them. In fact, some of them, I dare say, would rather be killed than be seen surrendering. And a lot of their messaging is not to the outside world, it's to their own people to make sure that their own people don't rise up against them themselves. So we have to know who they're talking to much of the time. And in fact, that's caused some issues too with Trump's messaging, because most people don't understand that he is speaking the language of Middle Eastern dictators when he's making these threats. He's not talking to Americans. That's why it doesn't compute sometimes very well with us, because people like me who've lived in the Middle East for years, we know exactly what he's saying and who he's talking to and why. That's one of the great challenges here as well.
That's a great point. But the other hurdle is what you just raised a moment ago, and that is, I've spoken to lawmakers, I've spoken to geopolitical analysts, and their discussions are all based off of the assumption that these are rational actors, and they just aren't. And I don't understand how we go forward in any negotiating setting with people who are completely irrational, completely off the deep end. And one of their primary tenets, one of their core beliefs, is that they're going to be willing to lie in order to promote their particular brand of Islam. I don't see how we get around that unless we just go scorched earth with these people.
In my opinion, you're not going to get around it, and you're going to end up having to go scorched earth and follow through with that threat in order to make the message heard, because they're just not going to capitulate. And even if they do, they're going to use deceit to do so. How do I know this? Well, I've lived over there for years, for one, and for two, I was on the White House ground in 1993 when they signed the Oslo Accords between Yasser Arafat and Bill Clinton. What did Yasser Arafat do immediately upon his leaving? He basically had a good laugh because he pulled the wool over the Americans' eyes and we thought erroneously in many cases that this actually meant something to them. For them, war is deceit. Peace treaties are just part of the deception, and it delays things to a point where they think they can get to a better position to have leverage on us. They're not going to understand anything but stuff blowing up around them.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.